And now let's make sure these are custom, right? Nope, I got to go for 22s minus 18. Hit OK. 22 minus 18. Oops, no one. Okay. Now, how do I determine what my stop loss can be for a one-to-one risk reward relationship? But when you space it out like this, it's always going to be the middle number. So 40s is really where I need to be. So I got two contracts at 20, so that's 40 tick win. I have one contract at 40, it's another 40 ticks. So it's 40, 40, and 80, which is 160 ticks worth of profit. I have to divide that by 4, which means my stop loss to have a one-to-one risk reward is 40. And you should be able to get into most trades with between 40 and 80 ticks worth of risk. Right? So that's a saved template. That's one-to-one. So this is D. What am I looking at? So D2A. D2A. I'm going to go for 21 tick first targets, 41 tick second targets, 81 tick third targets. Then I'm going to have a 40 tick stop loss. Now, again, that's for one-to-one risk reward. We'll make another one for 2-to-1 risk reward, and you can decide how you want to use it. Okay. So we'll save that. Okay, there it is. 2 times 21, 41, 81. That's one-to-one risk reward. Now 2B will make 2-to-1 risk reward. And all we need to do is change the stop loss to 80. Q1B. Boom. Okay. So 21s, 41s, and 81s with a one-to-one risk reward, 21, 41, 81 with the 2-to-1 risk reward. Now I'm going to make some bigger ones here. If you trade the US Open or you trade news candles, you reverse these news candles, or you reverse the opening candle on the US Open. And you need some room. You may need that 80 ticks, on that one. But we're going to make some larger target ones. Okay. So we'll go to D3A, D3A, and we'll just make larger targets here. We'll make 151 and 101. Okay. Now, if I want a one-to-one risk reward, what do? I add up all the profit, which in this case is 40, 190. I had to do that, right? 190 divided by 4. All right. 47 and a half. So I can go with a 50 tick stop loss here and still have one-to-one risk reward. Okay. So we'll save that template. D3A. 21, 51, and 101 with a 50 tick stop loss. That's your one-to-one risk reward right there. Save it. Now we'll do one with 2-to-1 risk reward, which would be 95 actually. So we'll do 95. So if you need 95 ticks worth of risk, that's 2-to-1 on this scenario. To save the template. Make it to B. Save it. All right, so what do I got here? 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward, 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward. Now I want to make one more set because if I get into the US Open, like I say, it gets pretty rowdy and I need more risk or more target, then I'm going to make another ATM and you say, well, Fred, how would you ever use this ATM if I go for hundreds and 200s? Yeah, you'd be surprised. So let's do it. All right, let's go 4A and 4B. Now my target's still going to be 21 on the first target. Then I'm going to go for 101, and then I'm going to go for 201. And if you've ever traded the US Open, you can actually move that 200 tick out, trade out to 400 or 500 ticks and see how we go. Now, how would I determine my 1-to-1 risk reward? I add up all my profit, which is 340, and I divide that by 4, which is about 80. I can take 80 ticks worth of risk and be at 1-to-1 risk reward. Okay, save the template. 4A. And the neat thing is you de-risk after 21 ticks. Now you're sitting at minus 18. The market has 40 ticks to play around before it takes off and hits your 100 and 200s. So we're going to save that. Okay. Does that look right? There you go. 2 times 21, 101, 201, 80. Now we'll do do I really need, you should be able to get into just about any trade reversal off the opening candles or news candles with 80 ticks worth of risk. I'm not sure we need a 2-to-1 against me. And I don't know anybody's going to take 160 ticks worth of risk for any trade, much less that. So we can leave that at that. But that I would definitely use for the opening candle on the US Open. All right, very good. So we've done all the ATMs that we need to do and for all the different PVIs. Under 50, here are my 2 target ATMs and my 3 target ATMs. The PVI, I can take that off actually. PVIs between 50 and 100. I go, here's my 2 target ATM. And again, you can move that second target around any way you want. And there's my 32 ticks. Maybe we should we'll make a 1-to-1 and a 2-to-1 on this one. So let's go ahead and make this one up. All right, so 60 ticks, 65 ticks we can use for 2-to-1 against me. Let's just go 60. Now we're going to save. Make this C1B. All right, so that's 1-to-1 risk reward going for 16s and 50s, and here's 2-to-1 risk reward against me. Okay, against me. Excellent. Here's my 3 target ATM, 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward. Now if PVI gets over 100. Here's my 2 target ATM. That's my 1-to-1 risk reward. That's my 2-to-1. Whoop. I guess I could make 1-to-1 and 2-to-1 on these. But I'll just leave them the way they are. I'll tell you what, I'll make this We'll edit it, edit the name, and we'll put a C next to this. Save it. Okay. This one we will remove. All right, that's 1-to-1 risk reward. Here's 2-to-1 against me risk reward, depending on how you want to start. Change that to a B, save it, and you're good to go. All right, so now I have, when the PVI is over 100, I go for 21s and 50s with a 1-to-1 risk reward. Here's 21s and 50s with a 2-to-1 risk reward. Here's my going for 20s and 100s with a 60 tick risk reward. Do I need more than that? No, I don't. Can't imagine anybody going for 120 ticks risk there. All right. Well, you may on MNQ, so I probably should put it in there. But I think we'll just leave it there. All right. So to recap on NQ, all right, here's my PVI under 50. I either go for 11s and 21s, 11s and 31s, or 11s and 41s. I like the 11 and 41 the best, quite frankly. And then I'll go for 11s, 21s, and 41s with a 40 tick stop loss and move it into position when I have to. As the market heats up, my ATMs take on more risk and bigger targets. There you go. 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward. There's 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward. Then as the market really heats up, gets over 100, then I'll start doing 1-to-1 risk reward, 2-to-1 risk reward, 1-to-1 risk reward. Okay. For 2 target ATMs, and here's 4 target ATMs. You can use these on MNQ as well. It'll only be 56 ticks. All right, that takes care of NQ. The ES ATMs I find, to be easier. The market moves slower, so I don't need sections of ATMs pretty much. I'll just put them into the E section right now, and let's see if we can't, as quickly as possible, do our ES ATMs. E1. What am I looking at? 2 contracts, 4s and 8s with 8 ticks. Okay, let's edit this one. I'm going to go for 4s and 8s with an 8 tick stop loss. My edit this, if I go to 4s, well, it's got to hit 5s. So once it hits 5s, go to -3. And then you can move it by hand after that. 5 -3, I don't have that. 5 pay -3. Save. Okay. All right, 2 contracts. I'm going for 4s and 8s, 8 tick stop loss. It's like 1 1/4 to 1 risk reward there. So I'm going to save this template. And this is going to be E. E1A. We're going to go for 4s and 8s. 4s and 8s with an 8 tick stop loss. And we're going to de-risk it quickly.